June 15, 2019. Sarah Mitchell thought she was living a fairy tale. The white dress, the tearful vows, the first dance with the man she'd been dating for 2 years. But just 3 hours after saying, "I do," Sarah would make a discovery in her new husband's jacket pocket that would shatter everything she thought she knew. This isn't a story about cold feet or wedding day jitters. This is about deception, danger, and a secret so dark that it would lead to a nationwide manhunt. Let's rewind 18 months. Sarah, a 29-year-old elementary school teacher from Portland, Oregon, met Marcus Blake on a dating app. He was charming, attentive, and seemed genuinely interested in building a future together. Marcus told Sarah he was a consultant who traveled frequently for work. It explained his occasional disappearances and why he kept his phone face down at dinner. Red flags? Maybe. But Marcus always had an explanation. He was smooth, practiced, and knew exactly what to say. Friends later said Marcus seemed almost too perfect. He remembered every detail Sarah mentioned, brought her favorite flowers without being asked, and had an uncanny ability to know exactly what she needed to hear. But here's what Sarah didn't know. Marcus Blake wasn't even his real name. The wedding was small but beautiful. About 40 guests gathered at a vineyard outside Portland. Sarah's family adored Marcus. Her father even joked during his toast that he'd finally found someone worthy of his daughter. But there was something odd that day. Marcus seemed distracted during the ceremony. He kept checking his phone during the reception. When Sarah asked if everything was okay, he smiled and said he was just overwhelmed with happiness. Around 9 p.m., as the reception wound down, Marcus told Sarah he needed to take a work call. He stepped outside, jacket in hand, and disappeared for nearly 20 minutes. When he returned, he seemed flustered, pale. He suggested they leave early to begin their honeymoon. They weren't flying out until the next morning, but Marcus insisted they needed to get to the hotel. Sarah agreed. She was exhausted and ready to start their new life together, if only she knew what was waiting in the pocket of that jacket. At the hotel, Marcus immediately excused himself to take a shower. Sarah began unpacking their overnight bags when she noticed Marcus had left his suit jacket draped over a chair. She wasn't snooping. Not really. She just wanted to check if there was anything in the pockets before hanging it up. Her hand brushed against something unexpected, something that felt like multiple cards. Sarah pulled out not 1, not 2, but 7 different driver's licenses. Each one had Marcus's photo. Each one had a different name, different addresses, different states. Her hands trembled as she laid them out on the bed. Marcus Blake, Oregon. David Morrison, California. James Sullivan, Washington. Christopher Hayes, Nevada. But that wasn't all. In the other pocket, she found a burner phone. When she turned it on, dozens of text messages flooded in. Messages from different women. Messages that sounded familiar. The same phrases Marcus had used with her. The same promises. The same lies. And then Sarah saw it. A news alert on the burner phone's browser history, dated just hours before the wedding. Police seek fugitive in multi-state fraud and identity theft case. Shocking music crescendo. The photo, accompanying the article? It was Marcus. But the article called him by yet another name, Thomas Garrett. Wanted for defrauding at least 9 women across 5 states out of a combined $840,000. Sarah's mind raced. The shower was still running. She had minutes, maybe seconds, to decide what to do. She grabbed her phone and did the one thing Marcus hadn't anticipated. She photographed everything. Every license, every text message, every browser tab. When the shower stopped, Sarah forced herself to breathe normally. She shoved everything back into the jacket pockets, her hands shaking so violently she nearly dropped the burner phone. Marcus emerged from the bathroom with a towel around his waist, smiling that same charming smile that had won her over 18 months ago. Sarah's new last name suddenly felt like a prison sentence. She told him she was. She climbed into bed beside a complete stranger, a criminal, a predator, and pretended everything was fine, because Sarah understood something crucial in that moment. She had no idea what Marcus was capable of when cornered. She waited until his breathing slowed, until she was certain he was asleep. And then, at 2:47 a.m., Sarah Mitchell Blake made the most important phone call of her life. Portland police arrived at the hotel within 12 minutes. They arrested Marcus Blake, also known as Thomas Garrett, David Morrison, and at least 6 other aliases, without incident. In the interrogation room, The full scope of his operation unraveled. Marcus wasn't just a con artist. He was a serial romance fraudster who had been operating for over a decade. He targeted successful, independent women, built elaborate relationships, gained access to their finances, and disappeared before they realized what had happened. But Sarah was different. She'd caught him before he could complete his con. The wedding was meant to be his final play, legitimizing his access to her accounts, her home, her life. Investigators discovered Marcus had at least 3 other fiancées in different states. He was planning to string them all along simultaneously, living multiple lives with different identities. The burner phone Sarah found? It contained evidence linking him to 19 different victims over 12 years. Some had lost their entire savings. One woman had even taken out loans in her name that Marcus disappeared with. Sarah's quick thinking and those photographs she took provided prosecutors with everything they needed. In March 2020, Thomas Garrett was sentenced to 23 years in federal prison for wire fraud, identity theft, and racketeering. He's currently serving his sentence at a federal facility in California. Sarah's marriage was annulled within weeks. She's since become an advocate for romance fraud awareness, speaking at conferences and helping other survivors recognize the warning signs she missed. I thought I was a smart, careful person. But these predators are professionals. They study you, mirror you, and exploit your desire for connection. If my story can help even one person avoid what I went through, it's worth sharing. 3 hours. That's all it took for Sarah's dream wedding to become her worst nightmare. But it's also how long it took for her to transform from a victim into a survivor. The biggest secret wasn't what Marcus was hiding. It was what Sarah was capable of when everything was on the line.